An amazing change happens to our solar system every 248 years as planets change. Pluto and Neptune actually swap places every 248 years, scientists reveal. Pluto has had a rough time of it. Sure, the Earth is full of people wearing novelty shirts proclaiming their loyalty to what used to be called the smallest planet of our solar system, Pluto. But it doesn't change the fact that scientists won't let it back into the planet club. At least it got a couple of years of being the farthest planet from the sun before having its status ripped away, except if you were alive between 1979 and 1999, then the farthest planet in the solar system was Neptune for a few years of your life. And once you get all the way out of the far reaches of the solar system, things start operating on a much slower scale. So you have to think of it this way. Pluto was discovered in 1930 and it had its planet status revoked in 2006. In the 76 years between those two dates, it had only covered about 3/10 of its orbit around the sun, and it won't be until 2178 that it will complete its first full year, quote unquote, since its discovery. Who knows what we'll be counting as a planet then? Now, because of the orbit of Pluto, it's 240 Earth years. That's exactly how often we get to spot another quirk of the black sheep astral body Pluto. Every so often, Pluto's elliptical orbit brings it closer to the sun than its neighbor, the nearest neighbor, Neptune. It's all about perihelions. The perihelion is the point at which an object is closest to the sun, while the aphelion is the point that is farthest from the sun. These 2 points are generally measured in AU, astronomical units. 1 AU is the average distance between Earth and the sun. That's about 93 million miles, or 150 million kilometers. For context, the Earth's perihelion is 0.98 AU, and its aphelion, as farthest from the sun, is 1.01 AU. Thanks to our mostly circular orbit, there's not a huge difference between the closest and the farthest points, but since Pluto's orbit is so elliptical, its perihelion is much closer to the sun than its aphelion. The farthest point is 49.5 AU away. In other words, it's almost 50 times farther away from the sun than Earth is, but it swings up to 29.7 AU at its closest. By contrast, Neptune's orbit is almost as circular as Earth's, ranging from 30.4 AU to 29.8 AU. That means that every single time Pluto makes an orbit, its closest point comes to 0.1 AU, that's 9.3 million miles or 15 million kilometers, closer than the ice giant Neptune next door to it. The fact that Pluto's orbit is so stretched out and elliptical is not the only strange thing about Pluto. It's also inclined at an angle of 17 degrees, while all of the 8 planets, it's still painful to write that, lie in a relatively flat plane in relation to the sun. Pluto's orbit is at a sharp angle to the rest, like a seesaw stuck in one position. Although its strange orbit did not play a role in disqualifying Pluto for planethood, it probably comes down to the same factor, and that is its size. Scientists are not positive, but the leading explanation for Pluto's strange behavior is that it's just too small, that Neptune has a significant effect on its motion. Over the past 4.5 billion years, the smaller body Pluto has been buffeted and slingshotted by the gravity of the larger planet. And the result is an orbit that's unlike any planets, but not unlike that of the objects in the Kuiper Belt. And we'll say this: Pluto may have lost its planet status, but with all of its weirdness, it will never lose its place in our hearts. And we could see from the image here that Pluto is, of course, very close to the Kuiper Belt. And this is by Ruben Westmus, Curiosity, Unbended Reality. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.